Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Friday follow-up in the continuing journey of accountability. As you can see today, I'm in a little different spot, and I'll explain. Last week, I said that after IRD, I always think of that time as a new beginning, a new year, if you will, as we rush to complete the 2021 and get ready for 2022. And I wanted to try something different today. Barb and I have been doing these Facebook chats since March of 2020. And over time, we've adapted. We've heard great comments from all you folks. And now I'm starting to hear members saying, well, I replayed your message at a chapter meeting, or I'm keeping this message so I can hear it again to keep me motivated, inspired, and be inspired. And that's great. So I kind of want to morph these Friday mornings into what I'm going to call a program that, if you choose, you can use at chapter meetings. Doing this on Facebook and allowing a YouTube link is very powerful tools that we can use to keep things connected. So, knowing I wanted to do this today, I tried it last night at my chapter meeting. Had everything set up. Camera was on. I blocked my spots where I had to go. But as I started the program, I got in that zone. And if you ever presented to anybody at a chapter meeting or on stage or at SRD or PRD, ARD, anywhere you presented, when you get in that zone, you forget. And oftentimes, I don't even remember what I said because I was just focusing on the moment. So what happened was I kept on stepping out of camera range. So the video this morning just didn't look right. So I'm going to attempt to recreate this morning. I've limited my space for two reasons. One, I don't want to wander off the camera angle again. And secondly, I have a contractor in the house who's doing some remodeling, and I couldn't go where I wanted to go to do this presentation. And he's promised me he will not use the air gun, the nail gun, while I'm doing this presentation, so I won't jump yay high. Why am I sharing all these details with you before I get into the program? It's because, folks, we always have to adapt. You might have plans that you're going to do X, Y, Z, and something happens to Y, and we don't know why, and you've got to change up. And that's what I'm doing now. So whenever things just, you don't think it's really rolling out the way you think you had it envisioned, trust me, it's going to work. I know this is going to work just by the comments that you folks will send me, and I will adapt and go forward and try to refine this process. So let's get on with the program. This morning's program is called Visual Wait, or just wait till you see what I have to show you. So often in TOPS, when somebody says at the roll call, I only lost a quarter of a pound, people will immediately jump and say, that's a stick of butter. So how much does a stick of butter weigh? 4 ounces. When you lift that stick of butter out of the refrigerator, do you really feel that 4 ounces? Yeah, it's got some heft to it, but you don't really think about seeing the weight. Now, don't get me wrong. That quarter of a pound is extremely important. It's kind of like every little bit helps. And sometimes a quarter of a pound will distinguish between a queen and a runner-up queen. We all saw the successes last week. And that's why I always said everybody needs to be recognized for the success. So a quarter of a pound. Quarter of a pound, you get 4 of them, that's a full pound. How much is a pound? Let me ask you this question. Now think very carefully before you answer. Which weighs more, a pound of lead or a pound of feathers? you can type your answer in the comments, and I'll see how many people got it right. And if I remember, I'll reveal the answer after the program. So getting back to weight, I like to get something a little bit more substantial than a stick of butter. So what I have here is a gallon of water. Now, I'm going to ask, how much does a gallon of water weigh? And if you're typing in the answer, great. I unfortunately can't see it from this distance, but I'm just going to move right to the chase and say a gallon of water weighs 8.3 pounds. For today's purposes, let's just not mess around with fractions and just go with 8 pounds. So every time you pick up a gallon of water, that's 8 pounds. You can feel the heaviness. You can see the weight. Now, for those of you who lift up a gallon of milk, it's 8.6 pounds, but remember, we're just rounding 8 pounds. So what are some other things that we deal with on a day-to-day, specifically shopping? We know how much a 5-pound bag of potatoes weigh, a 10-pound bag, a 5-pound bag of sugar. Every time we lift that up, are we thinking, wow, that's pretty substantial? We found out last night that a gallon of iced tea, now you would think it'd be 8 pounds, is actually 10 pounds. A gallon of gas, only one person guessed it right, but she's a pilot, so she knew how much gas weighed. It weighs 6 pounds. Why does gas weigh less than water? We don't really know what a gallon of gas weighs because we usually get a 5-gallon can of gas, and that's 30 pounds. So it's those things that whenever we work around in life, we lift things up, think about how much it weighs. We even discovered like ice cream. A gallon of ice cream, by rule, has to weigh a minimum of 4.5 pounds. But depending on the type of ice cream you get, it could weigh more. So when you lift these things up, you got to think about it. So we just had this discussion last night and kind of played around with the audience on how things are done. And I passed the gallon of water around, and some people immediately Googled to get the answer. But we've established that a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. Now watch as we have a visual on the weight. Now, for dramatic purposes, I have not filled these up because you'll see why. But there is 16 pounds right there. I'll add with me another 16, so that's 32. I'm now going to jump up and add 5 more. So that's another 40 pounds. So that's 72. Another 4 more. And I think I got them all. And what I have around me is 13 1-gallon jugs of water that if I was brave, I would have filled them up. 13 times 8 is 104 pounds. Now let's go with the real visual. When I joined TOPS almost 20 years ago, I weighed 321 pounds. At the end of the year, I lost, yes, wait for it, 104 pounds. I was carrying 13 gallons, gallons of water, basically, right? For a total of 104 pounds. Did I feel it at the time? No. But knowing now what I know, every time I lift up a gallon of water or a gallon of milk or lift that 5-gallon can of gas, I'm well aware of how much this weighed and how much I was carrying on my knees and hips and back. So again, when you think that, you only lost 1/4 pound, or better yet, you lost your first 5, your first 10, The next time you pick up a bag of potatoes or a bag of sugar, think about, wow, I was really carrying that. I am successful. I have done good. And I'm going to just keep on going until I get to my goal. So, you know, as I get back on track and I kind of lost the weight, this worked much better in rehearsal. And I kept on shedding the pounds that year. I find that I'm left now, as I got back on track. Thank God I didn't put on the whole 104 pounds, but I wasn't in a happy place. I now find myself last night with my weigh-in, I lost another 1.4 pounds, which puts me 20 pounds away from my original goal. So as you see, I got 2 jugs left. That's only 16 pounds. But I like it when how math works out, because the rope went. But anyway, a half a gallon is 4 pounds. So here it is, folks, the 20 pounds that I need to lose to get back to my original goal. But I'm being realistic. I did that almost 20 years ago. What I'm focusing on today is not to cut myself. Again, there we go. I'm not focusing on that right now, that 8 pounds. What I'm focusing on is 10. I want to lose 10 more pounds to get back, and I'm going to get back my cop status. After that, then I'll work on the next 10. But I feel I need that as a goal to keep me motivated. I hope I get there. But at that point, losing another 10 pounds, I'll have lost 90 pounds of the original 100 pounds to my goal. I kind of overshot that year and went 104. But see, you see how a visual can work? Hopefully this conveys properly over the internet. But just think about what you can do for programs in your chapter or at your events for visual. We need to see things, folks. We need to see how we progress. That's why the before pictures are so important, to remind us where we were and where we are now. Putting all those jugs on my back reminds me that I don't want to get back up to that 321 pounds. Can I get back to my original goal? I'm going to try my darndest. And I know I can do it because I have the support of you and all of Tops Nation. And that's just probably more important than anything else. But the bottom line is, whether I now have lost a total of 80 pounds from my original, my highest weight, and I get down to 90, I feel so much better now than I did 20 years ago. No more high blood pressure. I'm not worried about diabetes, except for a little touch of asthma. I can run up and down stairs. You know, I feel good. And that's important. These are numbers. They're visual. But overall, it's how we feel. And that's the message that I wanted to leave you folks. So I look forward to seeing you next week. I will hopefully have a program. I might not be able to do them every Friday, but I know I can promise you that we'll stay in touch. And please let me know if this works. We're going to be able to kind of cut these down and put them on YouTube and hopefully get some on the website so that our chapters can use this stuff. It's time to make changes. It's time to move forward, and it's time to continue to stay connected. See you next week.